Hi, I'm Laura Swaddle from Swaddle Creative, and I help businesses be braver, bolder and more brilliant through design. Today I want to answer a viewer question that somebody sent in over my Facebook page when I put the call out a few weeks ago. This question really jumped out at me because it's something I actually get asked about a lot, and it's really important that people consider it when they embark on a new brand, and that is how to protect it, how to protect the brand that you've built up. And I have 5 little pieces of advice for you today, and I want to share them with you over this video. So my first one is, make sure you're not actually treading on anybody's toes yourself. And it feels strange looking at it from the other perspective, but I think before you start on any new brand, you need to really make sure you've checked who's out there, who's in your industry, who's using different names. In the UK, you can check on Companies House. That's a government website that registers all current businesses and also dissolved businesses. You can see what names people are using. It's so important to make sure you're not treading on anybody's toes, because they won't like it, the other business won't like it. And also, when somebody types that name into Google, they'll find somebody else, they won't find you. So make sure your name is really unique. Make sure the brand that you are creating, the colours, the symbols, anything like that, don't look too similar to anybody else's. You don't want to rub anybody up the wrong way. My second one, and this admittedly isn't for everybody, but if you can, it's great if you can trademark or register your brand. Depending on where you are, this can incur some costs. It's not for everybody, but it's a really great legal way of making sure that your brand has that legal stamp on it, that little TM or the little R in the circle that says, you know, I own this, this is registered to me, to my business, nobody can copy it. And it'll hold up in court if anybody tries to infringe on that, and it's a really great way of making sure that nobody else can, come onto your territory brand-wise. And it's not just for marks and logos. There's actually been some incidences of companies they're registering colours. I don't know if people heard about this a few years back. Dairy milk purple, that's registered. There's a specific hue of purple, a Pantone colour, that I think it must just be other confectioners can't use. Same for Barbie. Other doll manufacturers cannot use what is known as Barbie pink. So that's a really interesting way. I mean, that's a very extreme example, but that is an interesting way of making sure that your brand is unique and protected in the marketplace. For my third piece, if that's not for you, if you can't maybe afford it, if you don't think it's worth trademarking your brand, keep documentation. Document the branding process with your designer, and that just could be something as simple as keeping emails, getting your designer to date proposal documents, date logo proofs and things like that, keeping folders on your computer that have creation dates on the information there. Just anything that could prove when you originated that brand, when you originated that look. Somebody once gave me a piece of advice, and for any legal people out there watching, please, I would love to know if this holds up. But they said that the best way to trademark something or prove your ownership of something is to post a copy of it to yourself, so it's got the postmark on the envelope, and then don't open it. Just keep it in a drawer, in a filing cabinet or something, and then if you ever did need to prove that you had that brand first, you could just get your little envelope out, hand it to your legal representative and say, look, this is mine, it's in here, it's postmarked from 2009 or whatever, and that's proof that I owned it back then. Again, legal people, I would love to know if that's true. It sounds right to me, but it couldn't hurt, could it? So that's my third piece of advice. For my fourth piece, it's something back on you again this time. Make sure you're using it correctly. Don't dilute it. I see it's all too easy when you get a new brand to get really excited and just go, yeah, we're gonna have amazing colours, and oh, that's a nice font, but make sure that you use your brand colours. Your designer will have suggested some brand colours, maybe not just the ones that you used in your logo. They may have suggested a secondary palette that you could use to complement it. Stick to those ones. Same goes for fonts, because it can get really confusing for your potential customers if they see such and such as pet shop, but with 4 or 5 different fonts underneath it, and they think, well, hang on, does that belong to that logo? Does that belong to that company? I don't recognise that font belonging with them, or that colour. Maybe that's not them, maybe that's somebody else. your designer can help you with this. If you haven't already got one, ask your designer to produce a brand guidelines document for your brand. And that's just a fancy word for a little booklet or a PDF that breaks down what your font is, what's the maximum minimum size your logo can be used at, how it should be used, can it be used on a photographic background, what are the precise, what is your precise colour? It's not just red, it'll be a specific hue of red. And that will really help you when putting together your marketing materials, because I'm sure that not everything that you put out there will be created by a designer. You'll want to run something up really quick, and that will help you produce something that is so on brand that nobody can mistake it for you. My last piece is mark your assets. And that sounds really complicated, but it's so not. It's just putting your logo or your colours or something that identifies you on everything you put out there into the world. So even just like the little memes on Facebook, the quotes you put on Pinterest, if you're creating them yourself in Canva or PicMonkey or something like that, get your logo on the bottom there, because then if it gets shared and shared, nobody else can pinch it. Nobody else can claim that they created that when you did. You don't want anybody else stealing your marketing materials. Same goes for your images. If you can watermark them, if you can put a little logo on there. I know that's a terrible thing on Instagram, people pinching other people's images of things that they've created, and that's a nightmare because you spent hard work and time creating these beautiful things. So stick your logo on there, and that extension of your brand, your assets, your images will be protected. So those are my 5 tips for how you can protect your brand. I would love to know if you know any more, or even if you've got any more questions that you would like me to answer in these videos. I would love to hear them. Stick them in the comments, or come over and talk to me on Facebook or on Twitter. I'd love to connect with you. Right, I will see you in the next video. Bye!